seconds of improvement, as opposed to randomizer where, a close match could be 15-minute difference. So we're already off to the races. Etienne is going to start by going out over to Eastern. Looks like Zell is also, and P-Train. What is this? Oh my gosh.
This is very specifically for the open, for the early boot starts, because like normally you have to wait for a bomb before you can even make the Sahasrahla play, but boots means you don't gotta wait for that bomb. They can run over here real quick and grab 3 quick items that are going to be out of the way for most people.
Yeah, worth noting, we did get Lamp that was there in...
The empty chest.
Yeah, the empty chest always seems to come up early. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But we did also get a sword, so that's pretty good, actually.
So when Sinek made the bot give you the early boots, he neglected to add an extra item into the pool. So there's always going to be an empty chest where the boots would have been. It's funny that we found it so early, though.
I always thought that to balance out the early boot start, it should be something surprise, like a chicken storm that just every chicken starts attacking.
That would be a sweet trade-off. I think everybody would be fine with that, though.
All right, so we have a little bit of route divergence. Etienne is actually going right into Eastern Palace, but the others are continuing on kind of the more traditional, going to Kakariko. There's our Ice Rod.
Dipping into Eastern right here makes a lot less sense than the Sahasrahla dip. Like, because there's just too many punishes at this point. Like, the entirety of Kakariko is like a million checks. South Shore is like another million checks. And if the bow happens to be in any of those checks, then this dip into Eastern is really costly.
Yeah, and I don't even know if Eastern is a pendant or a crystal because of that map check that we got that was just too darn quick for me to be able to check that.
I usually trust the trackers to pay attention to that for me. Also, I'm lazy. I can't do everything, guys. It's not my fault.
All right, well, we're going to see what's in Kakariko so far. Frostbite is kind of leading the way here. I haven't seen anything pay off for Etienne so far.
Well, he'll lose a little bit of time in Eastern just by virtue of not having the lamp. Not entirely, not like super significant, but having a lamp is faster than not having a lamp when you do these dark rooms, no matter how good you are.
Absolutely. Yep, I'm seeing in chat that Blind's Hut was, quote, hot garbage. I wouldn't even call it hot garbage, like lukewarm garbage.
Darn, I missed the hint.
It was actually a bundle of arrows is held by the Kakariko Elder, so green pendant hint is Garbo.
That's not a bad hint, especially, like, we already know Green Pendant's Desert Palace. We don't have access to it yet, but with the boots, it makes you value going into desert just a little bit more than normal, like if we did find the book.
So looks like we did find in the well, we found not only the power glove, but also the hammer, as Zell is showing us right there. That's super nice, actually. We already have 2 of our 3 keys to get into the Dark World. We're just missing that Moon Pearl.
Which totally won't be on the pyramid. Probably. We'll see.
I mean, we already have a sword and a lamp. All we need is either another sword or the cape, and we could be looking pretty solid there. Did see a mirror in the chick.
Yeah, the mirror gives us access to the Tower of Hera. That is what it's called. I know these things. But also East Death Mountain with the hammer.
Oh, and vanilla bottle there in the back of the bar. So we're going to be able to check Sick Kid right away with just a full heart. Yeah, I got to think that East Death Mountain and that Death Mountain routing is looking pretty attractive right now.
Unfortunately, Edium did not find any progression in Eastern Palace, and he even had to do the vanilla big key chest the vanilla way because he got there with so few hearts. So doubly punishing there, getting nothing from the dip and also having to do the dip just a little slower than he would if he had waited.
And just 50 rupees in the race game. Looks like Frostbite is going to go through. Zell checked it early, and then, yeah, save and quit, maybe checking, the back of escape to start with, and then going to go up the mountain.
This is pretty standard. Like, the back of escape in an open seed is, you can't really combine it with anything because of it putting you deep in this dungeon right here. So typically, the first time you save and quit, as soon as you have the gloves, you just do these 3 chests in the back. With the lamp, you may do the dark firm if you have the key. No key, though. It's not an option. It does confirm that there are 3 items on the front of escape, plus the small key, including Dark Cross.
I imagine that these runners might avoid that if they can get away with it, if we get enough progression, but we still have plenty of things that we can check. Lots of opportunities for progression. We haven't even touched South Shore yet.
Yeah, the mountain is so lucrative right now. Like, I feel like you go up the mountain before you even go over to South Shore now. Like, usually you put off doing the mountain because you don't have, like, a fire source in case Hera happens to be fire-locked, but that's not the case today. We can do everything on the mountain except for Ether Tablet and Spike Cave.
And even then, if we end up getting both the Moon Pearl and even our second lift upgrade, that would... Hey, let's go ahead and take a dip into the Dark World.
I think it's going to be a while before we see Mini Moldorm Cave.
Which is interesting because this is a little bit of a divergent routing. You wouldn't call it standard. You're trying to read the seed, read the tea leaves, if you will, and hoping it plays out. That South Shore check, that's 2 checks in the well and 5 over in the Mini Moldorm. So that's 7 checks. It's still pretty lucrative if you can get there. This is just locked behind by the progression, so it may be deeper in our spheres. Be interesting to see what we can do with it.
Well, it's a cool thing, though, because we do have the mirror, so we may be able to, assuming that we find the Moon Pearl over here, check Mini Moldorm Cave with the Dark World checks in that area, right? Like, we could do Hype Cave and then mirror over to South Shore. And as far as, like, where the Moon Pearl is, Paradox Cave is looking like the most likely candidate.
So it looks like the Eastern Palace was a pendant, at which point I think I like Etiem's play a little bit more, going ahead and going and at least knocking it out. Because
look, a hover. Who would have guessed it, guys? We got a hover at 8 minutes in. Thanks, Speed Train.
And our hint, the ice rod is in the Lost Woods. Thanks, game.
But you're absolutely right. That dip into Eastern not going to punish, or unlikely to punish as hard as it would have if it was a crystal.
Meanwhile, both Zell and P-Train and Frostbite, they're all reading the seed. They're all trying to get this edge. So far, Tower of Hera has not necessarily been anything worthwhile. It is a crystal, though, so they can at least get their first crystal relatively soon.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a little weird for us, the viewers, like, seeing the mountain before South Shore, but this is better than South Shore right now. This is way more items than South Shore, plus a crystal to boot.
Dueling bomb jumps here from P-Train and Zell.
I can't believe he didn't hover across. I'm disappointed. Come on, P-Train. Up your game, fam.
It's all about those clicks, isn't it? He's just trying to impress as many people as he can.
Frostbite, unfortunately, looks like he's not as comfortable with that bomb jump, so playing it safe and dropping down to the big chest.
What did P-Train and Zell do that Frostbite hasn't? Because he's at 4 hearts and they're at 5.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe backup escape?
Maybe. And Moldorm went down fast. I do not know if
Frostbite!
there's an item in the base. Oh, that's the middle one.
Frostbite getting middle hold here. It hurts. It hurts. It really just goes to show, like, how frustrating Moldorm is. It does not matter how good you are at the game. If you are not right on point, he can knock you off at any time.
Worth pointing out that Frostbite also does not have his sword.
Wait, where was the sword?
It was Sahasra's closet.
Oh, that's what he didn't do.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense why he didn't do the bomb jump then. And our basement was just a bottle.
We've already gotten our bottle. We've already checked our sick kid. These runners don't need any more, right?
Oh, Frostbite's skipping out on the basement. That's going to be a time save for him.
It's a gamble, but it's a good gamble this time.
It's pretty gambly. Like, 12 minutes in, skipping locations, like already orphaning something. But as far as like single locations go, Terror Basement is one of the worst. So from like Frostbite, this is the assumption that, well, it's probably nothing. Let's just never do it. I would not expect this. Oh my god, Frostbite.
Okay. Yeah. What the?
Oh, the book. Interesting. So that means that... Oh, poor Frostbite. So the book means that they can get into Desert Palace, but the only person to have that hint not to do the green pendant is... what's his face? That one guy in the corner.
They're all in a corner.
Eddie.
and they're all guys, so...
That one corner, you know what I'm talking about.
That one guy who did the thing. Yeah, I do.
You do find that Moon Pearl in Paradox Cave as predicted. And this seat just opened up.
Quite a bit, actually. Yep.
So with the Moon Pearl, I wouldn't expect to see anybody dive over to Desert, but they can full clear it because of that book.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone will, but we'll see. P-Train going to give us... Oh, he's going to do the South Shore area, but wrap in Hype Cave with it. So, hey, chat, this is your cue. What are we going to see in Hype Cave? What's our Hype Cave rating index? Are we in as much trouble as Florida right now, or not?
So it looks like Zelga took the time to leave Paradox Cave and run over here just to check Ether Tablet. Only some bombs. We got that peace of mind there, not to come back up when you get a Master Sword.
I gave some bombs, some rupees, some more rupees. Hey, Titansmith!
Hey, that's a thing. Things are good.
That's actually great from where he's at right now, because he can go down, do mini Moldorm Cave, do the dam check, and then he can route over into the Dark World, do Stumpy, Cave 45, dig game, and then route right up into Village of Outcasts. That's a great location to pick that up.
I'm curious where he's going to go. Like, he's walking into Swamp right now, but this is just to check that Centile. But he can run over and check Bombo's Tablet and continue west to Village of Outcasts, or he can just go east to Mini Moldorm Cave and the like.
All right, Mini Moldorm gave us a couple heart container, or at least one heart container, an Ether Medallion.
It looks like we're noping out of Ice Arcade.
That's a little surprising. With boots, it's not that long of a check. You can get there and out pretty quickly. Unless, of course, your objective is to go over and cash in that book by doing things like checking what's on Desert Ledge. Ooh.
Is this even random? That was the Bombos medallion on the Bombos tablet.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Captain MD13. We have a raid here. Thank you so much, Captain MD. All right, so we have our K45 check now that's going on, and it looks to be just a heart container, but P-Train, green mail, 5 hearts. Yeah, maybe feeling a little bit underpowered for where he's at in the Dark World now.
Yeah, he went out of his way to pick up a few extra hearts there, so he doesn't get one shot by some random RNG.
Either way, I like that the runners generally are following the same route. Looks like Frostbite is just a little bit behind, but P-Train and Zell kind of following very similar routes. We got the dig game now, and it's just a 4 dig game.
That's 3 vanilla locations in a row.
You can't count pieces of hearts.
It counts.
For vanilla. No, there's how many of those in the vanilla
game? I can tell the difference. That is the same piece of heart that's normally on dig game.
All right. Meanwhile, P-Train is taking Jeremiah home. Such a good guy, bringing Jeremiah back to his house. Coy, I have a question for you.
Hi.
Do you know why I call him Jeremiah?
Because of Credence Clearwater Revival?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. Ah.
Never understood a single word he said.
And I sure drank his wine. Yep.
Featuring finds a fire rod and hammer pegs. That makes for 2 crystal engines we can now full clear. 3 if we want to sequence break to Ice Palace, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe sequence breaking to Ice Palace with green mail 6 hearts. Not the smartest idea. So let's just do these easier ones first.
Green mail 6 hearts, no half magic. Yeah. What was on Ether Tablet? It was garbage, I think.
Bombs or something.
Yeah, 3 bombs. This is so weird. Like, all of these are high quality runners, and I'm just not accustomed to seeing them pick up pieces of heart that would take even like an extra 3 seconds. It feels weird to see these guys doing something that I would.
Yeah, it's pretty standard fare to like pick up even pieces of hearts until you're at 7 or so. 7 total. So P-Train picked up the purple chest and brought him into Village of Outcasts for safekeeping, but as soon as he kills Blind, he's going to have to re-pick it up. And he's definitely going to pull clear thieves down here.
There's really no reason not to.
The purple chest at this point is actually like kind of difficult to route in because even after Thieves Town, like you're gonna do Skullwits next because you can pull clear that as well. And there's no point in bringing the purple chest with you because as soon as you kill Mothula, he just resets anyway.
Honestly, I might even save purple chest for until I find the flute, hoping beyond all hope that the flute's not in the purple chest. Although Misery Mire is a pendant, we're not guaranteed to find the flute anytime before Ganon's Tower. Either.
Well, assuming we don't find like a purple chest hint in Thieves Town, I could see them like walking back down into Village of Outcasts just to pick it up and bring it with them to Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. But that would be slower than just abandoning the purple chest completely. Nice Hellwave from P-Train. He's on 3 hearts, right? No, that's a unique item locked in Misery Mire. Speaking of that flute.
A unique item, and it was in the Firelock port. Did it say Firelocked or did it just say Misery Mire?
I think it said Firelocked.
Oh boy. And I think we've already seen the single arrow too, which eliminates kind of the jank unique item.
Yeah, there's a lot more good unique items than bad unique items, so typically when you find a unique item hit, it's gonna be something good, but there is a chance that it's something pointless. We don't have to worry about it for a bit though, no flute to get over there.
Frostbite doing us all a favor with his like quadruple speed heartbeat and buying a red potion. So I hope he uses it when that happens.
Yeah, so he buys this potion here specifically because he does not have a sword. Without a sword, Blind never really feels free, so it's just a nice safety to have with him. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long time before he makes his way to Sahasra's hut to get that sword, so hopefully there's another one on the way.
Alright, looks like our last item is going to end up being on Blind himself, herself. I don't judge.
I think Blind's a guy, but he's pretending to be a cute little girl.
I mean, I can relate.
P-Train not even picking up the safety heart. 2 hearts is enough, he says. I think he has a fairy in a bottle anyway. If something were to go horribly, horribly wrong. Nice bonk. Very clean blind script out of P-Train.
Just a piece of heart. But that is at least our second crystal. Meanwhile, Etiem's over here in Desert, actually going to show us what's going on.
Yeah, it's a little surprising from him, because he's the one that knows the green pendant's nothing. It was him, right, who went into Eastern?
Yeah. I mean, he might just be reading hard on that book and said, hey, something's got to give.
I mean, at the very least, he knows that not to bother with green pendant if Lamo doesn't have an item. P-Train actually picks up the purple chest and saving quits to go turn it in right away. Is this a desert play? He might go to desert after this. Just because, like, he's so close to it. Oh my god, nope, not going to desert anymore. I don't know if that was his plan to begin with, but it definitely changed if it was. That is a bow on purple chest.
That's significant. I mean, that's Palace of Darkness, full clear access right there. And yeah, why not? That's one of the most dense dungeons that you can get in the game.
So it might seem weird, like, why did he go turn in the purple chest? He was right next to Skull Woods and can full clear it. It's a crystal. That's crazy to do purple chest. But the idea here is that if he goes to Skull Woods, it's really, really difficult to route in the purple chest afterwards. Because now we're up in the Skull Woods area, and I have to go back down for the purple chest and everything. So at that point, you feel like you just shouldn't do the purple chest. So P-Train's just being very thorough, making sure he can turn in that purple chest right away. I think he might have gone into desert if it wasn't the bow.
Oh, P-Train actually routing in looks like because he hasn't done much of this escape sequence quite yet. So he's going to check our uncle and these treasures, at least routing that in. This is a good routing play. And Uncle has the Sword of Evil's Bane.
Is this even rando? Come on, game. That is a sword on the uncle. Yeah, and we know there are 3 more items in the front of escape. And mirroring to it right here is a very efficient way to get that out of the way. Ooh, Frostbite running into a little trouble on his swordless fight. That's why he got the potion, right?
And we appreciate you saving our ears. Etiem, meanwhile, did go ahead and kill Landbow. I didn't see what it dropped, but based on what the tracker is saying, it was nothing.
Saving your ears? Am I loud?
No.
I'm confused.
His really fast beeping is loud.
Oh. I don't know why anybody would ever play with the fast beeps.
I play quarter speed, and that still annoys me.
Quarter speed's way too slow. Half speed or nothing. That's the way to do it.
All right, so Mothula goes down on Zell's side, and so there's another crystal down for him. Zell has 3 crystal dungeons down. Everyone has at least 1. Frostbite has 2. P-Train has 2. Etiem does have 1.
So Frostbite picks up the purple chest, and this is mostly because he does not have a sword, right? So he doesn't have to worry about leaving the purple chest behind because he can't even get to Mothula. So it'll definitely help him in his journey towards this bow. Zelga, unfortunately, he has to return to Village of Outcasts to get that purple chest, and he may not choose to do that. It's a little out of the way now.
Meanwhile, it looks like Etienne is going to be showing us Dark Death Mountain. It is Ether Medallion to crack open Turtle Rock, and he will do so.
Head check from Zelga, just a bug net.
I mean, it's not just a bug net. It is the bug net of Evil's Bane.
A unique item requires 3 pendants. It is knowledge of one more unique item, though, telling us that the unique item in Mire even more likely to be something good.
True. It's worth considering. Meanwhile, P-Train entering Palace of Darkness. Frostbite just showed us King's Tomb. Wasn't a whole lot there. Etienne's going to show us at least this Dark Death Mountain and Cane of Samaria.
This is a decision moment for Zelga. He is abandoning the purple chest. That's not good.
You know, and in Randomizer, sometimes you have to make those decisions.
Yeah, it was just like with the early sword and the fire rod, it made it really awkward to do the purple chest here. So P-Train going out of his way to turn that in and putting off Skull Woods for a little bit, definitely paying off big for him.
Look at this. At just about 31 minutes, Etienne says, yeah, let's take a step into Turtle Rock, see if it's Fire Rod lock to start out with.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do know that Fire Rod is in Hammer Pick, so he should get knocked out pretty quick. Unfortunately, there's a very particular key layout where he gets all the way to Laser Bridge without a Fire Rod. This can be pretty punishing if that happens.
Yeah, I would be lying if I weren't a little bit concerned about Etienne right now. But I'm also a little bit concerned about Zell because abandoning that purple chest is gonna hurt.
Oh, he's going over to Desert. And there is our flute in that one dungeon with the Dark Rooms. That's called... help me!
Palace of Darkness?
That's the one. That's the one.
Man, Etienne's just having a hard time with these chain chomps. And... nice.
Nom nom nom.
There's the King of Berna in Turtle Rock. So that's another one of those unique items that probably you can hold off on and takes that out of the pool. Man, Misery Mire.
Yeah, Mire's looking better and better. But that's really good news for Etienne that he can't get very far into Turtle Rock. Following this Palace of Darkness full clear, I would not be surprised to see P-Train and Frostbite head straight over to Mire to see if they can open it. Because at this point, it's really likely that unique item, Fire Locked in Misery Mire, is something you want to have.
Let's get some guesses in chat right now. Let's make this interactive. What are we thinking is the unique item in Misery Mire? Because right now, based on everything that we've seen, I'm gonna guess flippers.
I think it's like 60-40 flippers and hookshot.
Yeah, it feels like it's one of those two, doesn't it?
Flippers unlocks more locations, but the hookshot being locked behind the boots in Mire is a pretty common thing to see.
I'm seeing hook shot flippers, single arrow we've already seen, magic powder, or other fetch questy items.
So where was this Canis Maria that Edium has?
It was in, I believe, Super Bunny Cave.
Ah. Okay, so that changes things. Pedestal was the bug catching net.
Not even a bug catching net of Evil's Bane. It was just a regular old bug catching net.
What makes it a bug catching net of Evil's Bane, I wonder?
Well, it would reflect, an evil sorcerer's magic back to it, so maybe.
Blessed by one of the 7 sages.
So P-Train is now on Helmasaur. That flute is kind of the only thing that we really found here in Palace of Darkness, but that's enough. That at least guides us into a direction.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I think P-Train's route after Pod should be pretty clearly defined. Like, he still needs to go back and do Skullwoods, and he needs to activate that flute too, so he'll probably run over to Kakariko, activate the flute, do Skullwoods, maybe Graveyard Legend King's Tomb, and then make a decision from there, likely to the Mire area. Very similar decisions for Frostbite. Edium, unfortunately, making his way into Palace of Darkness, but he did not get that bow first.
Etium's and Thieves Town?
Right. They look the same. Because they have the same enemies. They both have Stalfos. Shush! I'm allowed to say stupid things because I'm not playing the game.
As long as you're all about the business, I think when you're playing the game, we can do whatever we want behind the mic.
I got distracted. Okay, Zelga's going into Pod. He does not have the bow. There you go.
Yeah, that's not good.
See, I was just looking into the future, and I mistook Zelga for Edium.
Hey, Koi.
Hi, what's up?
Why do you lie to me?
What did I lie about? I have never spoken non-truth, ever.
You have never not spoken a non-truth ever.
I've never not spoken a non-truth. Anyway.
Yeah, we need... Where's our resident lawyer?
P-Train does go to activate his flute and immediately enters the Dark World, likely to do Skullwoods here.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Master Sword, Blue Mail, Fire Rod. Yeah, this should be no...
I mean, unique item hints for Pendant Dungeons is all good and everything, but you don't pass up on a crystal on your way there. Wow, rude Gibdos. Rude.
I mean, I didn't think they were supposed to try to help you.
He makes it through. He's got it.
Oh, I do want to give a quick shout out in chat. I guess we have someone new in chat who welcome to the community, Pooch Kips. It's not exactly Zelda Link to the Past speedrunning. It is speedrunning, but it's randomized, so things are kind of spread out all over the place, and we have no idea where it is. So it's a lot of talent for actually speedrunning the game, and then there's also quite a bit of trying to figure out what the heck the game is trying to tell you to do.
Yeah, and Rando's a very deep version of the game because execution still matters quite a bit. Like it's super duper important to be able to do everything really, really fast. But more than that, being able to route efficiently and then also to be able to gamble efficiently and know when and when not to gamble, when to start checking overworld, when to skip bad locations.
And for Pooch Kips or anyone else who's new to Randomizer and just kind of stumbled upon to us, you know, in the Twitch streams, got tired of playing EverQuest or whatever, you know, feel free to join our Discord. We have lots of people who are willing to help you get started. It's one of the greatest online communities I've ever had the privilege of being a part of. Join us, see for yourself. It's a great online community, and we'll help you every step of the way.
Yeah, way nicer than any World of Warcraft guild I've ever been in.
That's kind of a low bar. But, you know.
Let's go, Meyer. Let's go. Frostbite takes down Mothula. Or no, Thieves Town. Right.
Hey.
They're all the same.
And we have our dip. It is Bombos to get into Misery Mire, so that'll be interesting.
We know where that is.
We do. And right now, only P-Train can get it.
I don't think he's one of the ones that checked it, though, is he?
No,
I think Zelga checked it. Right now, the only two swords we've seen so far were Sahasrarla's Hut and the uncle himself. Unfortunately, P-Train's not really in a good position to go get that Bombos medallion. He doesn't have anything in the area to really combine it with. No, it was a hint. I missed it.
Yeah, that hint said there's a unique item and a map in Firelock portion of Misery Mire.
Okay, so not really new information. That's the same unique item that the other hint referred to. It did tell us which location it's in. Those two item hints like that, they always list them in the same order. The first one in that set is going to be the cutscene chest.
Meanwhile, Zell is still kind of, I don't know, this is almost desperation hunting. He's in Pendant Eastern Palace, which isn't necessarily required, and we happen to see on the restream that we know nothing is here. He doesn't know that, though, so he's hoping against all hope that something's going to be here. Unfortunately, we know the terrible, terrible truth that the bow is, unfortunately, in Gary's lunchbox, the purple chest.
Yeah, purple chest has kind of ruined Zelga's day. Going into Eastern from his point of view, it makes a lot of sense. Like, he's in the area, it's 3 more items. It's just not the answer. So P-Train does finish up Graveyard Legend. I guess he did King's Tomb earlier. Ooh, looks like he's headed straight down to Bombo's tablet, though. Maybe he did check it. I think P-Train's playing right now. I don't think he has checked it. I think he's going to Desert. But Bombo's tablet's on the way, so he's just going to turn in Bombo's tablet while on his way to Desert. But finding Bombo's tablet may change his mind, and he'll go to Mire. No, well, if he was going to desert, he would just mirror there. He must know. He must know. I thought he skipped this check.
Well, there is the Bombos medallion. So now he is fluting away.
Yeah, regardless, he gets that Bombos medallion, which means he can get into Mire, which means he can get that mystery unique item.
And he's going the other direction.
I don't know what he's doing anymore. I'm so confused. This was his plan to begin with. He was always going to do Mini Moldorm Cave.
45-minute Mini Moldorm Cave.
Okay, so he was just being thorough, checking Bombos out. Like, he didn't know it was going to be Bombos.
And another runner, Frostbite, does go ahead and defeat Desert Palace. Man, that's 3 of our 4 runners doing Desert Palace when we know that it is absolute garbage in the entirety of Desert Palace.
Zolga and Frostbite headed over to Checkerboard Cave. Maybe something good. Nope.
Yep, 20 rupees, the most common thing in the game. Chat telling us that P-Train had actually read the Bombos tablet, so he knew exactly. Yeah.
Huh. I thought I guess I was just mistaken. I knew Zelga checked it, but I thought P-Train had passed it by.
There's our third sword, tempered at the Waterfall Ferry.
I'm a little surprised to see P-Train doing these fake flipper hints. I guess he's just going into Ice Palace or something.
Oh, he's continuing with his plan, and we've kind of seen this with P-Train's play. He is a very thorough runner. Like, he doesn't. There's still a lot of things. As soon as he gets it, as soon as he's able to do it. Now, I don't know about doing these all out of sequence, but hey, silver arrows and tempered sword out of logic, I will take both of those in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely paying off. It feels a little awkward to sequence break the flippers when you know the flippers are going to be hard required this seed. But that doesn't mean that the flippers can't lead to things. Okay, now we get the Mire area. There we go.
There's a question in chat, and Koi, I hope you can help me out because I'm not actually familiar. I know how to do the fake flipper setup, but they're asking how do you do the water walk setup?
So there's actually like more than one way to do it, but essentially what causes water walk to happen is when you dash alongside a pit and then your dash is like interrupted in a like a weird way. So the way P-Train did it was by dashing outside of Ice Rod Cave right along the pit, and because the transition stops his dash, it causes him to maintain this weird state where the game like thinks he's dashing alongside a pit, which causes him to walk on water. It's free. It's free. It's not like a super difficult trick or anything. You just dash alongside the pit and then you hop down a ledge into deep water and you'll be standing on the water.
I actually didn't know that, so I've been behind.
There's other places you can set it up, like you can set it up outside Skull Woods by dashing alongside the pit that goes to Pinball Room and bonking at the end of your dash. And because the bonk like breaks your dash, the game like doesn't know what to do, so it thinks you're water walking.
Etienne set up that was an amazing fake flipper setup. He threw a bomb that knocked him right as he was going to the very edge of the water as he was jumping down, so fake flippered across there. That was a slick fake flipper setup right there, Etienne.
We call that the Kern jump. That's actually a relatively new trick that was only discovered this year by our good buddy Kern, for whom it is named. What's happening there is like you fake flipper by transitioning the frame after landing in water, right? And the bomb damage can push you right up to the transition without transitioning you. So he uses the bomb to get in position right as he lands in the water and just holds down, and that'll start the fake flipper.
Yeah, the trick is because the game doesn't actually check to see if you have the flippers until the second frame that you're in the water. So you have a one frame. If you can get the one frame transition, then you can fake flip.
He didn't need to do the Kern jump to get to this area, but it was an efficient way to get over here. All right, finally, someone has made their way into Myers. We can find out what this super awesome unique item is.
Holding on with bated breath. Oh, Petra. Okay, we have a full magic bot coming up.
The other chest, though. I don't know if he did the desert dip to find out which chest it was.
Etienne's going to be our first check to Zora, actually. So we'll see which way we're getting scammed today.
It feels bad, man.
1% return! Oh, you guys have seen Zora? Well, oops.
Oh, nice Meyer hint telling us not to do Pyramid Fairy. It's just going to be the red meringue.
Oh, man!
Okay, when I said 60-40, what I actually meant was 59-39, because there was a 2% chance of it just being a fetch quest. After all that, all we find is a gosh darn shovel here in Misery Mire.
Hey, I love me fetch quests, man. I really do. And that's not just because I used to sing the song.
This is the part of the game where we start cursing the hint tiles. Like, the odds were really, really good it was going to be a good unique item.
But hey, shout out to those folks in chat who actually managed to guess, yes, we're going to get a fetch quest. Y'all were on the money. And it looks like our last item is in Misery Mire is actually going to be on Vitreous.
Adding insult to injury.
Yeah, and P-Train does not have that Cane of Samaria. In fact, Etienne is still the only person who actually has the Cane of Samaria, although Zell is in the neighborhood. He's going to pick it up relatively soon.
Yeah, Etienne making his way back into Turtle Rock. He was here before and found out that he couldn't get very far without the Fire Rod, but now we've got that Fire Rod, we can full clear this dungeon. P-Train immediately going to turn in that shovel. We need to know. Worth.
Absolute worth. I mean, right now, there's a $50 lying on the ground, so if anyone can get to the Lost Woods real quick, I could use some cat money.
So I'm sure P-Train feels a little silly falling for the hint tile debate, but you know, it made a lot of sense for him to do that. It was very likely to be something good. Just turned out to not be. And without the Cane of Samaria, it's not like he had a very clear picture of what he should be doing next.
Well, what is our next option at this point in time? About the only thing I can think of is maybe an Ice Palace dip?
Yeah, it's super likely we're just going to find something in Turtle Rock here to tell us where to go next. But like, if I don't find anything in Turtle Rock, I probably would fake Flipper Ice. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, we still don't have the flippers.
But I mean, other possibilities are Vitreous having an item, and it just being go to the mountain first before you get it. I think maybe Armos had an item. I'm not really sure about that one.
I mean, regardless, the seed's being a little bit rude to us right at the moment.
I guess Spike Cave. Have we seen Spike Cave at all? I don't think so.
We haven't, and I guess we do have the Cane of Burna, so, and a couple bottles, so it's technically in logic.
Are you ready for some hovers?
I mean, I don't know if I'm ever ready for hovers.
He might not do it just because like he has Turtle Rock right here, but like it's fee trade, right?
Oh, I'm hearing chat is telling us that they've already checked Spike Cave and it's nothing.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of locations then. I think Turtle Rock is definitely going to be having something.
That chain chomp has been blocking Zell. Oh, poor Zell.
Let's go, hovers. Let's go.
All right, P-Train, here we go.
He needs to get this Bari off the screen. Bari disagrees with them. There we go. Oh my gosh. One hover down. And he can bonk here. He just has to be really particular about his positioning. Nice job. One more hover. Actually hovered for the first time today.
Congratulations. It's not an easy trick to do. Nothing but money!
I still want it banned, just for the record. But now my voice has slightly more weight. Because I can do it too. Not to the consistency that P-Train can. Like, I probably wouldn't do Hookshot Cave there.
Frostbite. Bombed Uncle.
Yeah, he's been looking for that sword this whole game.
When really, like, the first part of escape sequence is like the handicapper's dream. You get your blue mail. And we do finally find flippers on Laser Bridge.
Ice Palace looking pretty good.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Man, Etium's going to have a rough go at this Trinex. He's going to be using hammer strats because... yeah... Fighter Sword Trinex.
Okay, all right. So I concede that Hammer Trinex is not super duper easy, right? That is not the claim that I'm gonna make. However, it's not that bad. Like, the main concern here is if you miss too much, you straight up run out of magic, which can be pretty horrifying. But once you're like super practiced at it, getting the firehead down in 2 shots is pretty consistent. And then just kind of working with what the ice head gives you at that point is the order of the day. I sure hope Eddie and brought out Magic Refill, though.
All right, looks like Idiom's through the two heads.
Oh, Zelda getting 1.0'd by the laser beam there.
Meanwhile, Frostbite is also taking the bait. Looks like going over to Misery Mire. It's hard not to take that bait, though.
Yeah, he hasn't been up to Death Mountain yet, but Death Mountain doesn't look that good, right? Like, it's just Super Bunny and one check in Hookshot Cave. And you can do Spike Cave out of Logic, I guess. Like, it doesn't look very good. But little does he know that the Canis Amari is up there, which leads to 5-6 more items in Turtle Rock.
So Etienne did end up finding the powder on Trinex. So that's another location in the Magic Bat.
Zelda having a much easier time with this Trinex fight. Apparently Tempered Sword, pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's not a bad weapon, no. I'm still worried about Zell because the more progress he makes, the further away he gets pushed from that bow.
Oh yeah, he's gonna last location that. It's unfortunate. Like, it really sucks, and it's not even truly all his fault or anything. It's not like he forgot to do it or he purposefully orphaned it or something. That's just the way the items were laid out. He valued going into Skull Woods more than the purple chest, and getting punished for it. Eddie, I'm in a very similar situation.
Absolutely.
Zelga did find the powder, right?
Yes. Yeah, because that was on Trinex.
I mean, there's a chance he might do purple chest when he goes over to do the powder, to do Magic Bat. But the Magic Bat you can do from the Light World, where he'd have to go to the Dark World specifically for the purple chest.
Stopping by the magic shop, getting a potion. That tells me that Ice Palace is in the near future. And Etienne's heading that direction too.
Yeah, he's definitely doing Ice Palace here. Yeah, the flute was bow-locked, if I remember correctly. Right? It was on the right side?
Yeah, I was on the right side. Now, Zell did do what's called the bottle glitch to get past that particular check. Just a reminder for everyone, minor glitches are allowed in the game. The water walking, fake flipper, bottle glitches. There's a whole host of them. Generally, the rule is, I think, as long as it only allows you to sequence break one item, you can't break multiple items. That's the differentiate between a major and a minor. There's a whole committee who reviews everything for the Zelda all speedrun community to see what glitches are allowed, which ones aren't. So
okay, so that's actually not at all the difference between major and minor. But that's interesting that that was the conclusion you came to. But that really shows me that we as a community have done a very poor job of making that drawing that line.
Yeah, I always thought, because it made the logical sense, and that's how it was explained to me, was that if you were sequence breaking more than one item past a location, wall jumping to get past the Trinex entrance, that was a major sequence break, so you wouldn't that's out of bounds.
Yeah, so major and minor glitches are something that has always been defined by the Link to the Past speedrunning community, like the regular speedrun, not the randomizer, for their categories, which deal a lot more with the differences in the glitches. What they did was they defined major glitches as being something that does these things and everything else is minor. And it wasn't until very, very recently that the rando community has decided, you know what, maybe we should have our own set of rules. And so we very recently created the Racing Council, which is a group of players in the community who are going to decide the future of the rule set for randos specifically. And we're going to stop blindly following whatever the speedrunning community does. Because like glitches, like lots of glitches that are like super impactful in rando, they don't really do a whole lot in NMG, right? Like we can look at hovering, for example, because P-Train's here. Hovering in the NMG run saves a few seconds. Hovering in rando skips entire dungeons sometimes, right? So it makes sense that we as a community need to have our own set of rules, because the glitches just straight up do different things for us.
Thank you for that education. I feel enlightened today.
Currently, nothing's been decided, so for now, we are doing major and minor glitches. And we're back to Frostbite's beeping.
All right, P-Train's actually going to be the first one to show us what's in this magic bat, kind of following the Trinex lead.
Yeah, a little surprising he did this before Ice Palace, maybe. But I mean, it's pretty orphan for him, having already done Purple Chest. Oh my god, Frostbite.
Send hearts, please.
Alright, he'll pick up a heart here in Super Bunny Cave. Maybe that'll put an end to it. Oh, no, he won't, because he's coming from the top. Never mind. Never mind. More heart. More beeping. Beep, 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 beep. So, for those of you who didn't know, one of the options you can choose when you create your patched ROM is to set the speed at which the beeping goes. Frostbite has chosen double vanilla speed for some reason. I don't know.
Some people just need the extra reminder they're about to die. I can't blame someone for that, but I switched the audio there.
We appreciate you.
So, I haven't really seen anything in Ice Palace worthwhile.
Yeah, so far not so good.
We are looking for
Hookshot.
Let's see. Well, just hookshot is our go mode. We're thinking maybe a French vanilla hookshot.
Yeah, hookshot in the swamp's looking pretty darn likely. You're absolutely right. I think the only other option, the only thing we haven't seen is Vitreous, right?
Yeah, and that just sounds disgusting to me, so.
Yeah, I'd expect to see some swamp dips before we go into Mire. Especially those that have already been to Mire and got the shovel. Nice bufferless bomb jump there from P-Train. That's really slick to do the little dash turn down. Eddie's starting his Cold Star fight. He does not have enough magic here, though, but he brought a potion. Yep, there it goes.
Oh, Zell is actually going to show us Pyramid Fairy. I thought we had gotten something that says Pyramid Fairy, but...
Yeah, we did have a hint for this. It's going to be the red meringue and something useless. Something else useless, I guess. The darn purple chest, though. Like, I understand why Zelga and Edium skipped it, but man, this is the worst punish for it.
Well, and unfortunately, that's kind of how Rando goes sometimes, and it's not great, but Rando's gonna Rando. Sometimes you can make every, like, logically correct decision and just pay an absolutely punishing price for it.
Yeah, at the time, when they had the chance to do purple chest, it was super out of the way to do so. And going to do purple chest meant not doing a crystal dungeon that you can full clear as soon as you could.
Zell actually going up here to Catfish, and I believe we even got a hint that said Catfish had nothing.
Yeah, I think he has 20 rupees, if I remember right. Zelga's pretty much running out of locations, though. I think now's the time. Like, after these flipper checks, and now's the time he's going to go over to purple chest.
So Etiem's turning in his big bomb as well.
Where was that hint? Oh, that was the Meyer hint, wasn't it?
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah, neither of them done the Meyer hint.
There we go, Zell.
So this is pretty good news for Zelga. He didn't end up completely last locationing the bow. He could have gone into Swamp Palace instead of this, so luckily he is going to find that bow first. Unfortunately, the bow does not lead to the hook shot, so he'll have to go to Swamp anyway.
The interesting thing is he might, because he's already cleared out most of Pod, he just can't get past the other Mimic Cave so that he can't beat the boss. I would venture a guess to say that Zell will turn in the purple chest and then turn around and just dip Swamp. Or not. He's making
No, he didn't want to go into Swamp because that, like, he fluted over there instead of walking or re-entering the Dark World. If he had been in the Dark World, I think he would have done that, though. I don't know if Helmasaur has an item, though. I think he does.
He does. I think it's a heart container, I think, if I recall.
So this isn't, it's not like a time loss or anything for him to do Pod first, since he wasn't in the Dark World when he turned to the purple chest. Like, he'd have to go over and re-enter the Dark World if he wanted to do Swamp anyway. The real question is, what does P-Train do after these flipper checks? Because we know that Desert's empty, we know that Eastern's empty, but he hasn't done either one. Does he go into Swamp? and just hope for that vanilla bow.
You know, I've heard some people actually take some gambles there. I guess there were a couple seeds in the qualifiers where progression was in very early in Swamp Palace, so it's almost confirmation bias in some cases of people saying, well, I guess Swamp would be a decent play every now and then.
Yeah, usually when you see those like early swamp dips, right, it's because of where you found the mirror and where you found the flippers. But in this particular seed, like the flippers were so late. Like it doesn't feel like a swamp dip seed, you know. But looks like P-Train's gonna God Vision his way to Swamp Palace. He's heading over here to enter the Dark World. Edium as well, going straight into Swamp Palace. Of course, we still don't know that this is where the hookshot is. Like, Vitreous is still a possibility.
That would be horrible.
That'd be pretty rude. Especially for P-Train, because I think he might do Eastern and Desert before ever going back to Vitreous, having already been into Mire. Swamp is more likely, though.
So, yeah, Tech Guru, hookshot can be anywhere except behind the big chest cap that requires a hookshot to get across. So it'd have to be the front half of Swamp, or Vitreous.
And no hovering in Swamp Palace. It's not allowed. Or, you know, possible.
If someone figures out how to hover over that kind of Z-axis sort of stuff, let me know, and I will sign that petition for no hover at that point in time. So we got two runners in Swamp Palace. Zell might be heading that way now.
Yeah, he's going into Swamp.
You do need hookshot to not only get to the boss, but for the boss itself, you need it. Hookshot is always also going to be a hard requirement to complete the entire game. Even if Swamp Palace is a pendant dungeon, and you don't need it anywhere to even dip your pinky toe in there, there's always going to be a hard requirement for hookshot based on crossing that Moldorm 2 ledge that requires a hookshot. So it's one of the few items that are going to absolutely be required.
Oh, Zelga, no! Zelga's fallen for the unique item in Mire bait.
Again, hard to criticize him. I hope he commits to it at this point. I hope it's like, that's it, I'm in, and just he kills Vitreous. Because we're down to left side Swamp Palace, and I think the big key, like one of these two might have to be the big key.
So this, I was really hoping he'd just go into Swamp, like, because finding the bow so late, you know, you gotta feel pretty behind. Maybe time to make like that gamble into Swamp. But he's gonna go for that unique item bait. But you're right, he unlike the other players who went in here, he has the King of Samaria. He can get that last item. He just, you know, has to kill a pendant boss.
And P-Train and Etienne are in the same room at the same time. This is actually pretty exciting. No, there's the hook shot.
Oh, look,
French
guys.
vanilla hook shot.
Look at that. What do you know? It's go mode.
It's a little bit late of a go mode for an early boot seed, but 1 hour, 20 minutes, and we are in go mode now with one dungeon left. We have this one, and then Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, P-Train has a pretty insurmountable lead here. You need the key. P-Train, the key. Oh my god. So much for NMG. That's cute that P-Train forgot the key.
So you're going to make sure to mention that in the interview?
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you do that.
He was telling me just the other day how awesome NMG is and how it totally helps out with Rando. Of course, in NMG, you have to grab the key after doing left side like that because the hookshot's in that big chest. So it's cute that P-Train forgot it.
And really, at this point in time, he's got Blue Mail, he's got Tempered Sword, he's got Silvers, and 14 Hearts. He's set. All of these runners are completely capable of taking out Ganon in this case. It's almost too much armor. Ganon is going to be almost a formality.
Does Edium have his spell? I just saw it got marked on the tracker. Well, we're not going to know for a while. He has no reason to menu. Yeah, he's still checking locations. I don't think he has that bow yet.
No, he's still looking for the bow, and he doesn't know where the flute is. So yeah, he's 100%ing this thing. Meanwhile, P-Train defeats his 7th and final crystal boss. And ladies and gentlemen in chat, I see the numbers flying already. You know what time it is. There are 22 treasure locations in Ganon's Tower that can possibly contain the Ganon's Tower Big Key. 1 through 22. Go ahead, get your guesses in chat. If you hit it on the money or are the closest, we'll go ahead and give you a shout out here on the stream. Koi, do you have a guess for us today?
1. I'm sorry. Like, I just want the Ganon's Tower to be over and done with, you know. I always feel really bad when I choose like the wrong route through Ganon's Tower, and somebody else gets it really early. So if it's in one of the very early locations, the difference between Ganon's Tower Big Key routing is less significant. And it looks like Zolga is going to go after Vitreous here, unfortunately.
He's at least doing spooky action. So this is another kind of glitch. I'm gonna go with number 12 today.
Nice middle ground option. I can respect that. Frostbite takes down Cold Stare, gets his 5th crystal. Do we go to Mire, or do we go to Swamp Palace?
Well, we know what the right answer is, but
he's gonna buy bombs. Okay, that tells me nothing.
Zell shoveling away. All right, so our first check, Bob lives. 300 rupees on the torch. Two is just a key. 3 is a magic cape. 4 piece of heart. 5 is a mushroom. Hey, that mushroom surely has something for us.
Yeah, featuring mirrors out of Stalfos room. We call this Magician strats. Dark Magician is when he goes all the way to Ice Armos here, and Pink Magician if he mirrors up with Compass room. The Pink Magician route has been very, very popular as of late.
Yeah, I think we were talking the other day, and it has something to do with doing the first part of the route and then counting your keys and making the determination after you've done your keys whether or not to continue on either side. And it's supposed to be one of the most efficient routes in terms of chests per minute until you get to the very end. I think total time, if it's at the very end of the chain, then it takes a little bit longer, but if it's relatively early, then you open up more chests, so it ends up saving time in the long run.
Well, there's a lot of considerations with routing towards the big key. So if the assumption is that if you were to always find the big key in the last possible place, like if it's always your last check, Pink Magician's terrible. Like it's super inefficient. You do one side, then the other side, then the other side, then the other side. It's awful. But if you're assuming that I'm always going to find the big key in like my first 10 checks, then Pink Magician's super awesome, right? Because you get lots of those checks super early.
Yep. So we have done 12 checks. Hang on, let me count. No, we've done 11 so far. Okay.
What makes Pink Magician super strong is the meta of the routing the game right now, right? Because like the big key can literally just be in any one of these 22 locations. Like it's not like one route is definitely going to be better than another over the long run. But what makes it better is depending on what everybody else routes, right? Like if everybody did full right or something, then Pink Magician would be really weak because it puts off Ice Armos for so long. But the other very popular routes are like the Hope route and the Hybrid route, both of which do like Stalfos room or Compass room super early. So Pink Magician becomes very safe because the thing that it last location's Ice Armos, everybody else is pretty much last locationing too, or close to it.
All right, so we're 13 checks in, and we are in the rando room now. So called because you would never, ever, ever go into this room unless you're playing randomizer. There's just no reason for it. Buttersword and Red Mail in rando room.
Does look like Ice Armos is going to be the answer, which makes Pink Magician one of the worst routes you could have chose.
Frostbite back over in Misery Mire. All right, so this is check number 18. You see the glitched out anti-fairy, our mascot Bob. Say hi, Bob. Oh no, he bombed it.
Murdered!
He's gonna hover this! No!
Stylin'. I sure hope that's not the big key.
So we skipped that one, so that's not a check. So we're at, this will be check 18, 19, and 20.
Mistakes were made. Oh,
18.
Getting bailed out.
Bail out. Oh my god. That being said, let's see. Do we have an 18 anywhere? We do not. I saw a couple 17s and a 19, so we're gonna shut out. So Surger at 17 and one of our trackers, Semper Fire Dog, with 19. No one got it right on the money.
I think the 19 should win it, man.
Hey, I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. I'm sorry.
That would have been so punishing if that was the big key. Because P-Train definitely would have done Tower Room before going back to that.
No, absolutely. And I would have cackled the entire time. Frostbite did just beat Vitreous. I think Zell had also done that. Some bombs. Meanwhile, Zell is finishing up his Argus fight here directly and will be climbing Ganon's tower very, very quickly.
Yeah, Zelga and Edium both in go mode. Or, well, Edium's about to be. No, he is in go mode. Yeah, he doesn't need the flute. He's in go mode. Frostbite making his way into Swamp Palace, where he will find his hookshot and enter go mode as well. Ask why he skipped that chest. He didn't mean to. It was an accident.
Yeah, he did not mean to do it in any capacity.
He was planning to do like a slick little anti-fairy skip where he like walks past Bob real quick to get to the chest as the bomb's exploding. He just made a little execution mistake and the bomb exploded before he could get over to the chest. Yeah, the floor would come back if he went back to the room. I think maybe it would come back if he just like left the super tile. I'm not sure about that one. Mirroring would definitely bring it back though. I mean, so this whole seed just came down to the purple chest, right?
Pretty much. I mean, the purple chest was one of the big ones, but the other thing that the hook shot was a little bit. I mean, if you think about it, the flippers was also a little bit, but that was buried in Turtle Rock. You just kind of had to follow your nose up to Turtle Rock once we had the access there.
Yeah, I guess it was more the Canis Maya than the flippers. Because like Turtle Rock was like clearly the play once you did have the cane, but you had to like go to Super Bunny Cave without the hook shot to get it. Looks like P-Train's losing his touch here. Falling during the hover.
And no P-Train.
P-Train is the hoverer. Like people talk about a lot about like Andy hovering and stuff. No. Andy is a hovering noob compared to P-Train.
And he fell again. Moldorm too, just not wanting to cooperate.
There we go. Probably not a time save if you fall twice, but still all the style points for P-Train there.
All right, P-Train now on his Agatu fight. Where was the bow and the hookshot? Bow was in the purple chest unlocked by Gary, and the hookshot was French Vanilla on the left side of Swamp.
Yeah, unfortunately, the seed, it just didn't really lend itself to super efficient routing, right?
Yeah, nothing really allowed us to... Like, you couldn't move a few things together. It was a little bit of a rough seed, all things said. You had to do some things that you probably weren't necessarily comfortable with. But all in all, it wasn't... I wouldn't call it horrible. It wasn't, like, super trolly. It was just... some things were out of the way.
Yeah, I think all 3 pendants ended up being completely skippable. You just, had to do purple chest, which was super out of the way considering we could pull clear both Beatstone and Skullwoods when we had the myths. And then also go up to Super Bunny without the hook shot, and then also you had to go into Swamp without the hook shot.
Question in chat: early boots is a category now. It's something we're doing for the stream. We have a bot that can generate a seed with boots in Sphere Zero, so I don't think it's necessarily on the website yet. But if you join our Discord, I think you're able to get access to that bot who can generate that for you.
Yeah, there's a command you can place in the race planning channel where the bot will respond to you and generate one of these seeds if you wanted to play one like this. You can also do this yourself using the customizer on the website, but that's a little more effort.
And I hate effort.
Doesn't everybody? Dougal takes down Ice Armos and gets his big key. So he's going to end up being about 6 minutes behind P-Train.
Meanwhile, P-Train takes down Mr. Blue Bacon himself and has to cross the most dangerous 1x3 bridge on the game. There he does. GG's P-Train finishing in second place total for this community race. First on stream with the official SRL time. 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 48 seconds. GG's P-Train.
GG.
See if we can get P-Train in here for a little chat. I do want to give a shout out to Salty Fry, who is joining us in chat. Did finish in first place in the community race with an official time of 1:30:45. So finished about a full 6 minutes ahead of P-Train.
Yeah, judging by Salty Fry's comments, I guess he got to go mode pod.
Hey, that's nice. In the meantime, joining us is P-Train. GG, sir.
GG.
So about that hover.
Oh, yeah. I was having a lot of controller issues toward the end of the game. I think my controller's just giving away. Part of it was minor tilt after messing up Zero Cycle Argus, and then also getting dead rocked. I was a little frustrated, but there were some moments like trying to do the bonk to the Dark Magician room in GT. Land mode 2, the entire gauntlet was just, my controller just was not listening to. So that, and then I realized, like, as soon as I went for the hover, I was like, wait a minute, why don't I have magic? And yeah, that happened. I'm a little bit amazed that I'm in second place, honestly. I thought my execution was pretty rough through the majority of the seat. I'm going to guess Bo redeemed me.
Yeah, so the purple chest was the bane of most people running this seat, I would imagine. Definitely for a few of our runners on the restream. It was just a really awkward situation where you could do purple chests, but like if you do Mothula, then you have to run all the way back for it. And if you don't do Mothula, then you put it off the Crystal Dungeon. It was just awkward. So you definitely made the God Vision play, so to speak, to go turn that purple chest and just come back for Mothula later.
Yeah, for me, honestly, there was part of it was an oversight. I was half not wanting to orphan the purple chest because I realized I'm like, if I don't do it now, when am I ever going to come back here? And then the other half was I kind of zoned out when I got the fire rod. I was like, oh, I need this. It didn't occur to me that it unlocked a crystal dungeon, so
Right.
that was a bit of an oversight.
I was hoping we'd see somebody like go kill Mothula and then just walk back down to Village of Outcasts and bring the purple chest with them up to Graveyard Ledge, but nobody ended up doing that.
Yeah, that's a long walk because you can't dash with the purple chest, so you didn't have hookshot at that time either. So that would have been a rough walk.
I gotta ask, how happy were you that Bob's chest didn't end up having the big key in Ganon's Tower?
Yeah, that was full tilt right there because I was getting annoyed by my controller, right? Because I'm trying to do all this stuff. Also, I felt super dumb because in my mind, I've read through the code, like I've read key logic and stuff. In my mind, I had it that if there's a small key in the fire snake room or the rando room, the big key must be there. Apparently, that is only true for the rando room. So if you ever find a small key in the rando room before you find the big key, you know you're about to find the big key. Same is true for the compass room. So, me being so smart, decided to menu to the mirror and then didn't find the big key. So, felt super smart there.
Yeah, the reason that's true for those rooms is because those rooms are locked behind key doors, where the Dark Magician's room is not.
Yeah, and there was some. Oh yeah, and then before the game, I was practicing NMG, and I was actually practicing that Ganon's Tower sequence. And in NMG, you don't open up that chest, so my mind just went to NMG, and I even messed up the NMG strap because I would have fell on the anti-parry. Thank God I had powder, and yeah, I was really worried about that one. Like the biggest debate for me was if the big key's not behind Ice Armos, do I do Tile Room or do I come back for Bob's chest? Like, which one's faster? Which one makes more sense? I really didn't know.
I think you do Tower Room and then go down the right side to get there.
I mean, that probably would have been my choice, honestly, because it's like when you make a mistake like that, you have to pretend it doesn't exist until you're forced to acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, luckily I didn't have to make that decision.
I was teasing you a little bit because we were talking before the run even started about how like you're big NMG runner, like you really care about NMG. It's something you put a lot of work into, and to see you forget to hookshot over to the key and swap out.
Yeah. I mean, part of that was just I was so shocked to find the hookshot there. At that point, I was starting to feel really bad. I was feeling really good about a lot of my early decisions. I went out of my way for a useless bombos. I used that to check a empty mire and orphan an item on Vitreous, which I guess in the end was a blessing. But at the time, I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, I don't want to leave an item in a pendant dungeon that I'm checking. So yeah, just a lot of little things I was getting kind of annoyed at. And I was like, man, if hookshot isn't here, my plan was to go from swamp to catfish. I was just going to swim over and take the Dark World portal to catfish. And yeah, I had no clue what I was going to do after that. Eastern Palace was scaring me just because that's a Sphere 1 location and I never routed it in. So yeah.
Meanwhile, Zelga does take down Ganon, good for second on the restream and fifth overall with a time of 1:42.48. And we welcome Zelga to the voice chat. GG!
Hey, GG's.
Purple chest though, right?
GG.
Yeah, that purple chest. And honestly, that's not even the thing that I'm saddest about in this run. It's that I was double baited by the book. Go into desert, and it's absolutely nothing. And I'm thinking, okay, well, there was a shield on the desert ledge, so it was to get to Laser Bridge. And then there's Burna right in the front of Turtle Rock, so that was wrong. And then I get Bombos and follow it into Mire because there were 2 hints telling you to do it, and nope.
Yeah, I think
where was the second hint for Mire?
Desert.
Oh, okay, I never went in desert. So
yeah, the desert hint was for both items, so it told you like which item or which Firelock chest had the unique item, but it was still a unique item and not a shuffle.
Yeah.
And we had been eliminating like the junk worthless items. Like, oh well, there's Cane of Burna. We already had the single arrow. Like, it's increasingly likely this is gonna have to be something good, and nope.
Yeah, so honestly, like, I'm not upset with the time that I got in this race. Just mainly because at least I started with boots. That's about the best thing, because literally the only other thing I had left in the game was the other chest in the left side swamp, so it was that.
I was able to skip Vitreous and most of the desert area. I didn't do Agina, and I didn't go into desert. And I also had Catfish. But other than that, I full cleared the game.
Eastern.
Oh yeah, I didn't do Eastern either, that's right. Eastern felt really dirty to leave. I forgot that the Fire Rod unlocked Skullwoods. So after Thieves Town, I just cleaned up the purple chest because I didn't want to orphan it. And then I found Bow, so I was like, oh, well, let's go do Pod. And then after Pod, I remembered, wait a minute, you have Fire Rod. You can go do Skullwoods. So I did Skullwoods, and at that point, I had a sword. Because on my way to Pod, I did Pyramid and Escape and got the Uncle Sword. So I used that to go get Bombos, and I did go into Mire. I got the shovel, got the 50 rupees, and was kind of mad about that one. Probably my biggest regret for this seed was how long I put off Dark Death Mountain. I wanted number one. I wanted a medallion, so which is part of the reason why I went and got Bombos. And then I did South Shore really late. I had done Pod and Skull Woods before I did the Golden Cave. And I wanted the Cane of Samaria, and the Cane of Samaria being on Death Mountain kind of hurt.
Yeah, I put off Dark Death Mountain really long too. I think I basically had like Escape and the Bombos tablet was pretty much what I had left at that time. Oh, and the purple chest, obviously.
Yeah, I wanted a real chance of doing Turtle Rock because I already felt bad because I can't remember exactly how many mountain farms I'd had at that point, but yeah, I was starting to feel I was like I really don't want to climb this mountain extra time.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. It was just a seed that didn't really lend itself to like super efficient routing. Like going up to the mountain any earlier than you guys did felt really bad because you want the hookshot before you go up there, you want the cane before you go up there, and apparently everything was just locked behind going into Super Bunny Cave without those items.
Yeah. Flippers were in a nasty spot. Hookshot was in a nasty spot. Cane was in a nasty spot. It was just a really ugly seed in that part of it.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was nothing that was particularly trolly or anything about the seed. It was just really inconvenient spots for everyone.
I mean, I don't know. I would argue that purple chest is a troll, just because you're going to find Fire Rod with the blacksmith. You don't have flute at that point because you need the bow to get the flute, logically at least. So, purple chest looks really unappealing after Thieves Town.
Well, for me, what it was that I did Hype Cave and got the Titan's Mitts and went just left and up into Thieves Town, so I just dropped off the Smith and did Hammer Pegs before going in. So I wasn't about to just go back and get only the purple chest, especially after getting that Fire Rod, so it happens.
Rando's gonna rando.
Yeah, I was doing commentary last night, giving my hypotheticals, like, oh, well, if it were me, I would do this. And Koi literally did the opposite of everything I said that I would do, and almost got routed the seed. So, luckily, this one worked out a little better for me.
So I don't know if you guys remember, there was a 9 p.m. daily like weeks ago. It was timed one hit KO. Do you remember that one?
I did not race in that one, so
it was a time one hit KO, and like everybody had Master Sword Go mode, and I had accidentally skipped a sword in Dark Cross.
I do remember this one. I think we were both on the restream for that one, actually.
So I like watching the restream of that seed. Like I was like super far ahead of everyone, like the whole seed, but I had skipped this one sword, and I gambled there was just going to be a sword, somewhere in GT, right? Surely. And it ended up that the only accessible sword outside of that Dark Frost one that I had skipped was on Laser Bridge. And the only way into Laser Bridge was to do Tower Room, which I also skipped. So I ended up full clearing the game and having to double dip GT just to get it. So like that's why I did that last night, Petrie. I was wrong, but that's why.
But yeah, all in all, I mean, just the routing really worked out for me. I mean, I guess I missed the landmine that was Purple Chest, so after that, I didn't really have too many hard decisions. It felt bad to full clear an empty Ice Palace, but at the same time, it's hard to be too salty about that when Hookshot was in Swamp.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm okay with that. I'm really, honestly, I should really be happy that I avoided Pendant Eastern and Pendant Desert. So that's a win. I wish I could have executed GT better, but other than that, it was pretty decent seed for me.
Meanwhile, Etienne does finish in 12th place with an official time of 1:50.44. We'll see if we can't get him in here. And Frostbite is going to be joining us here almost directly.
It wasn't a seed where anybody was ever gonna like god route it, you know, like because like that would involve like doing this really early dip into swamps, which you just couldn't do because you had to get all this other stuff just to get to the darn flippers. I think Salty Fry was saying that he ended up having bow go mode, so that enabled him to skip out on a bunch of the flute lock stuff.
Yeah, that works. I can see do it like if you're bow only and you don't want to dive pendant dungeons, like because if you want to avoid, you know, pendant dungeons didn't have anything this entire seed. So yeah, if you prioritize overworld locations over your pendants, then yeah, bow go mode probably plays out really nicely for you.
Meanwhile, joining us, Frostbite, who did finish in 14th with an official time of 1:51.31. GG's.
You can't even say that. That was the worst I've played in a long time. I think I drank 9 potions in that seed. I think it was 6 was the actual count, but that was horrible. And thanks for the anyways, invitation. I'm just kidding, but I played very poorly tonight.
Also joining us is Etienne as well. Everyone finished, I mean, relatively, you know, when you're only thinking about 15 minutes apart on the stream, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It was a super gross seed.
I feel like with my routing, I should have finished like 7 or 8 minutes behind. Like I died at least once in not a really bad spot, but it was honestly just like how early you go into swap. That was basically what it came down to. It was the only decision that really needed to be made. Yeah, I guess in the bow, but because of the way I routed it, I got the bow very early and didn't really consider it a troll item.
Yeah, bow was my go mode. I got the fire rod from Hammer Pegs, and I just was like, okay, screw the rest of this, going straight to Skullwoods and then T-Rock. Because I had gone up the mountain earlier, so I had the Cane of Samaria, and I was like, okay, as soon as I get the fire rod, I'm just booking it to T-Rock. And that caused me to miss the bow, which in some ways helped, because then I didn't find the flute till I was in go mode. And how about, like, that was like the first time in forever I've been able to go mode pod, and of course the big key is the last chest it can be.
Yep. How about those 2 hits for the shovel, by the way, too? That was awesome.
I never touched Mire, so I didn't even know what that item was.
Yeah, that baited quite a few folks, and I imagine it baited probably quite a few people who weren't even on the restream, because there were 2 hints for a unique item in Misery Mire, so it was looking kind of appealing there for a bit, and we knew the bug net was on the pedestal, and we knew Cane of Samaria. We already had the single arrow. It's like, okay, you know, increasingly it had to be something that was going to be useful, right? No.
Yeah. I honestly, because I hate hints and I play against them, I wasn't going to go in after I got the first one. And then I got the second one, and I'm like, I'm not going to be the only idiot that plays anti-hints. And then I also have this theory that the game likes to tell you there's one bad item in Mire or get you in there, and then like what you need is actually the second item in Mire, because it happens all the time seemingly. So that's sort of why I went to Mire before Swamp. But like I think I had like 6 really, really, really bad locations for me. Obviously, the worst one was the Big Chest and Ice Palace, because I was gonna forfeit before I went back to that one. And then I skipped the Basement of Hera very early because I didn't feel I had enough health to go down there safely with those sword. Like if it went wrong at all, I was gonna die behind the wall. Or running around, so I decided not to do that. And then I skipped Ice Rod Cave, and I skipped Escape because I hate Escape. So, but I'm glad the hookshot was where it was and not in any of those spots, I guess.
For sure.
I full cleared the entire game except for Mire.
Yeah, that's what my only other option for hookshot was the other side of left side swamp. Just the right chest instead of the left. I full cleared everything else.
I had a few things before I went into Swamp, but I pretty much near last located the bow.
I don't think any of you guys have anything to feel bad about in this seed. Like the things you had to do to get like a really, really good time in this seed were things that are going to absolutely destroy you in any other seed, right?
Had to do shameful things.
Yeah, like I played against how I wanted to play because I was playing poorly. Like I tried to hammer an enemy right at the start of the game, and I missed him twice, and I was like, all right, it's going to be one of these nights. So I was very cautious of it. So I would have fake flippered an Ice Palace normally, which of course wouldn't have actually done anything, but it would have like looking for a sword, I guess, was when because I was trying to get bombos to get into Mire, of course, because that was the big brain play to make in this seed. So, but no, it was okay. I just I got wrecked because I did get the Uncle Sword until like an hour, and I didn't get the Sahasrara Sword until like 45 minutes too. So I took a lot of damage early.
The Uncle Sword had some like weird graphical glitches. That was kind of funny.
That looked normal for me. Just like a sword.
It was like it appeared sideways or something. It was really weird.
This wasn't
for me,
Uncle
while
Assured,
the room
right?
was loading, it looked like Link was holding it southward. And then once the room loaded, it straightened out.
That's because I had the Master Sword when I went in, so it like the uncle looked like he was holding the Master Sword, but then it flipped sideways. It was really weird.
All right. Well, we need to consider wrapping things up here. Do we have any last-minute thoughts from any of these wonderful runners?
No, GGP train. That's all. And thanks, Vitasia and Coy, for calling the game and for the tracking. Is it Ken and Shade? Is that who was on tracking tonight? And everyone else in the apparatus, Dear Agent, etc. Thank you. And you could have picked me this afternoon. It would have been okay. Okay, guys. Just kidding.
GG's everybody. I really appreciate the restream. Enjoyed it.
I basically say, the same thing Frostbite said.
Yeah, GG's everyone. Thanks for having us, and at least we had boots if we're gonna full clear the whole game.
Exactly.
All right. That was Frostbite 3030, P-Train, Etium, and Zelgadishan. Go ahead, if you like what you saw from them, give them a follow here on Twitch. Also, big shout out to Link to the Past Ken and Shade for doing our tracking for us. All the work behind the scenes keeps us honest, lets us know what's going on, because honestly, we'd be lost without you guys. Thank you so much. And of course, my co-commentator, Corey, thank you so much, man. It's always a pleasure working with you.
See, but if you say it first, then I go like, no, thank you, Vitasia. It makes me look like a copycat. It's
well, okay. So we are thanking each other. We'll go with that. Guys, stay tuned. Here in 15 minutes, we have a Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer qualifier race that's coming on here in the next 15 minutes. Stay tuned. We'll see everyone at the next race, and have a good evening.
Bye, everybody.